Hello, hello. Let's continue our read through of the D&D Player's Handbook. We're in the Classes chapter, and we're on to Monk. Her fists a blur as they deflect an incoming hail of arrows. A half-elf springs over a barricade and throws herself into the massed ranks of hobgoblins on the other side. She whirls among them, knocking their blows aside and sending them reeling, until at last she stands alone. Taking a deep breath, a human covered in tattoos settles into a battle stance. As the first charging orcs reach him, he exhales and a blast of fire roars from his mouth, engulfing his foes. Moving with the silence of the night, a black-clad halfling steps into a shadow beneath an arch and emerges from another inky shadow on a balcony a stone's throw away. She slides her blade free of its cloth-wrapped scabbard and peers through the open window at the tyrant prince, so vulnerable in the grip of sleep. Whatever their discipline, monks are united in their ability to magically harness the energy that flows in their bodies. Whether channeled as a striking display of combat prowess or a subtler focus of defensive ability and speed, this energy infuses all that a monk does. The magic of ki. Monks make careful study of a magical energy that most monastic traditions call ki. This energy is an element of the magic that suffuses the multiverse, specifically the element that flows through living bodies. Monks harness this power within themselves to create magical effects and exceed their body's physical capabilities, and some of their special attacks can hinder the flow of ki in their opponents. Using this energy, monks channel uncanny speed and strength into their unarmored strikes. As they gain experience, their martial training and their mastery of ki gives them more power over their bodies and the bodies of their foes. Training and asceticism. Small walled cloisters dot the landscapes of the worlds of D&D, tiny refuges from the flow of ordinary life where time seems to stand still. The monks who live there seek personal perfection through contemplation and rigorous training. Many entered the monastery as children, sent to live there when their parents died, when food couldn't be found to support them, or in return for some kindness that the monks had performed for their families. Some monks live entirely apart from the surrounding population, secluded from anything that might impede their spiritual progress. Others are sworn to isolation, emerging only to serve as spies or assassins at the command of their leader, a noble patron, or some other mortal or divine power. The majority of monks don't shun their neighbors, making frequent visits to nearby towns or villages and exchanging their service for food and other goods. As versatile warriors, monks often end up protecting their neighbors from monsters or tyrants. For a monk, becoming an adventurer means leaving a structured communal lifestyle to become a wanderer. This can be a harsh transition, and monks don't undertake it lightly. Those who leave their cloisters take their work seriously, approaching their adventures as personal tests of their physical and spiritual growth. As a rule, monks care little for material wealth and are driven by a desire to accomplish a greater mission than merely slaying monsters and plundering their treasure. Creating a monk. As you make your monk character, think about your connection to the monastery where you learned your skills and spent your formative years. Were you an orphan or a child left on the monastery's threshold? Did your parents promise you to the monastery in gratitude for a service performed by the monks? Did you enter this secluded life to hide from a crime you committed? Or did you choose the monastic life for yourself? Consider why you left. Did the head of your monastery choose you for a particularly important mission beyond the cloister? Perhaps you were cast out because of some violation of the community's rules. Did you dread leaving, or were you happy to go? Is there something you hope to accomplish outside the monastery? Are you eager to return to your home? As a result of the structured life of a monastic community and the discipline required to harness ki, monks are almost always lawful in alignment. Class features. Unarmored defense. Beginning at first level, while you are wearing no armor and not wielding a shield, your AC equals 10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your wisdom modifier. Martial arts. At first level, your practice of martial arts gives you mastery of combat styles that use unarmored strikes and monk weapons, which are short swords and any simple melee weapons that don't have the two-handed or heavy property. You gain the following benefits while you are unarmed or wielding only monk weapons and you aren't wearing armor or wielding a shield. You can use dexterity instead of strength for the attack and damage rolls of your unarmed strikes and monk weapons. You can roll a d4 in place of the normal damage of your unarmed strike or monk weapon. This die changes as you gain monk levels as shown in the martial arts column of the monk table. When you use the attack action with an unarmed strike or a monk weapon on your turn, you can make one unarmed strike as a bonus action. For example, if you take the attack action and attack with a quarterstaff, you can also make an unarmed strike as a bonus action, assuming you haven't already taken a bonus action this turn. Certain monasteries use specialized forms of the monk weapons. For example, you might use a club that is 2 lengths of wood connected by a short chain, called a nunchaku, or a sickle with a shorter, straighter blade, called a kama. Whatever name you use for a monk weapon, you can use the game statistics provided for the weapon in Chapter 5, Equipment. Ki. Starting at 2nd level, your training allows you to harness the mystic energy of ki. Your access to this energy is represented by a number of ki points. Your monk level determines the number of points you have, as shown in the ki points column of the monk table. You can spend these points to fuel various ki features. You start knowing 3 such features: Flurry of Blows, Patient Defense, and Step of the Wind. You learn more ki features as you gain levels in this class. When you spend a ki point, it is unavailable until you finish a short or long rest, at the end of which you draw all of your expended ki back into yourself. You must spend at least 30 minutes of the rest meditating to regain your ki points. Some of your ki features require your target to make a saving throw to resist the feature's effects. The saving throw DC is calculated as follows. Ki save DC equals 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your wisdom modifier. Flurry of Blows. Immediately after you take the attack action on your turn, you can spend 1 ki point to make 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action. Patient Defense. you can spend 1 key point to take the dodge action as a bonus action on your turn. Step of the Wind. You can spend 1 key point to take the disengage or dash action as a bonus action on your turn, and your jump distance is doubled for the turn. Unarmored movement. Starting at 2nd level, your speed increases by 10 feet while you are not wearing armor or wielding a shield. This bonus increases when you reach certain monk levels, as shown in the monk table. At 9th level, you gain the ability to move along vertical surfaces and across liquids on your turn without falling during the move. Monastic Tradition. When you reach 3rd level, you commit yourself to a monastic tradition. The Way of the Open Hand, the Way of Shadow, or the Way of the 4 Elements, all detailed at the end of the class description. Your tradition grants you features at 3rd level and again at 6th, 11th, and 17th level. Deflect Missiles. Starting at 3rd level, you can use your reaction to deflect or catch the missile when you are hit by a ranged weapon attack. When you do so, the damage you take from the attack is reduced by 1d10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your monk level. If you reduce the damage to 0, you can catch the missile if it is small enough for you to hold in one hand, and you have at least one free hand. If you catch a missile in this way, you can spend 1 key point to make a ranged attack with the weapon or piece of ammunition you just caught as part of the same reaction. You make this attack with proficiency regardless of your weapon proficiencies, and the missile counts as a monk weapon for the attack, which has a normal range of 20 feet and a long range of 60 feet. Ability Score Improvement. When you reach 4th level, and again at 8th, 12th, 16th, and 19th level, you can increase 1 ability score of your choice by 2, or you can increase 2 ability scores of your choice by 1. As normal, you can't increase an ability score above 20 using this feature. Slow Fall. Beginning at 4th level, you can use your reaction when you fall to reduce any falling damage you take by an amount equal to 5 times your monk level. Extra Attack. Beginning at 5th level, you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn. Stunning Strike. Starting at 5th level, you can interfere with the flow of ki in an opponent's body. When you hit another creature with a melee weapon attack, you can spend 1 key point to attempt a stunning strike. The target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or be stunned until the end of your next turn. Ki Empowered Strikes. Starting at 6th level, your unarmed strike counts as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage. Evasion. At 7th level, your instinctive agility lets you dodge out of the way of certain area effects, such as a blue dragon's lightning breath or a fireball spell. When you are subjected to an effect that allows you to make a dexterity saving throw to only take half damage, you instead take no damage if you succeed on the saving throw, and only half damage if you fail. Stillness of Mind. Starting at 7th level, you can use your action to end one effect on yourself that is causing you to be charmed or frightened. Purity of Body. At 10th level, your mastery of the ki flowing through you makes you immune to disease and poison. Tongue of the Sun and Moon. Starting at 13th level, you learn to touch the key of other minds so that you can understand all spoken languages. Moreover, any creature that can understand a language can understand what you say. Diamond Soul. Beginning at 14th level, your mastery of Ki grants you proficiency in all saving throws. Additionally, whenever you make a saving throw and fail, you can spend 1 Ki point to re-roll it and take the second result. Timeless Body. At 15th level, your Ki sustains you so that you suffer none of the frailty of old age, and you can't be aged magically. You can still die of old age, however. In addition, you no longer need food or water. Empty Body. Beginning at 18th level, you can use your action to spend 4 Ki points to become invisible for 1 minute. During that time, you also have resistance to all damage but force damage. Additionally, you can spend 8 Ki points to cast the Astral Projection spell without needing material components. When you do so, you can't take any other creatures with you. Perfect Self. At 20th level, when you roll for initiative and have no Ki points remaining, you regain 4 Ki points. Monastic Traditions. 3 traditions of monastic pursuit are common in the monasteries scattered across the multiverse. Most monasteries practice one tradition exclusively, but a few honor the 3 traditions and instruct each monk according to his or her aptitude and interest. All 3 traditions rely on the same basic techniques, diverging as the students grow more adept. Thus, a monk need choose a tradition only upon reaching 3rd level. Way of the Open Hand. Monks of the Way of the Open Hand are the ultimate masters of martial arts combat, whether armed or unarmed. They learn techniques to push and trip their opponents, manipulate Ki to heal damage to their bodies, and practice advanced meditation that can protect them from harm. Open Hand Technique. Starting when you choose this tradition at 3rd level, you can manipulate your enemy's Ki when you harness your own. Whenever you hit a creature with one of the attacks granted by your flurry of blows, you can impose one of the following effects on that target. It must succeed a dexterity saving throw or be knocked prone. It must make a strength saving throw. If it fails, you can push it up to 15 feet away from you. It can't take reactions until the end of your next turn. Wholeness of Body. At 6th level, you gain the ability to heal yourself. As an action, you can regain hit points equal to 3 times your monk level. You must finish a long rest before you can use this feature again. Tranquility. Beginning at 11th level, you can enter a special meditation that surrounds you with an aura of peace. At the end of a long rest, you gain the effect of a sanctuary spell that lasts until the start of your next long rest. The spell can end early as normal. The saving throw DC for the spell equals 8 plus your wisdom modifier plus your proficiency bonus. Quivering Palm. At 17th level, you gain the ability to set up lethal vibrations in someone's body. When you hit a creature with an unarmed strike, you can spend 3 Ki points to start these imperceptible vibrations, which last for a number of days equal to your monk level. The vibrations are harmless unless you use your action to end them. To do so, you and the target must be on the same plane of existence. When you use this action, the creature must make a Constitution saving throw. If it fails, it is reduced to 0 hit points. If it succeeds, it takes 10d10 necrotic damage. You can only have one creature under the effect of this feature at a time. You can choose to end the vibrations harmlessly without using an action. Way of Shadow. Monks of the Way of Shadow follow a tradition that values stealth and subterfuge. These monks might be called ninjas or shadow dancers, and they serve as spies and assassins. Sometimes the members of a ninja monastery are family members, forming a clan sworn to secrecy about their arts and missions. Other monasteries are more like thieves' guilds, hiring out their services to nobles, rich merchants, or anyone else who can pay their fees. Regardless of their methods, the heads of these monasteries expect the unquestioning obedience of their students. Shadow Arts. Starting when you choose this tradition at 3rd level, you can use your key to duplicate the effects of certain spells. As an action, you can spend 2 key points to cast Darkness, Dark Vision, Pass Without Trace, or Silence without providing material components. Additionally, you gain the Minor Illusion cantrip if you don't already know it. Shadow Step. At 6th level, you gain the ability to step from one shadow into another. When you are in dim light or darkness, as a bonus action, you can teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space you can see that is also in dim light or darkness. You then have advantage on the first melee attack you make before the end of your next turn. Cloak of Shadows. By 11th level, you have learned to become one with the shadows. When you are in an area of dim light or darkness, you can use your action to become invisible. You remain invisible until you make an attack, cast a spell, or are in an area of bright light. Opportunist. At 17th level, you can exploit a creature's momentary distraction when it is hit by an attack. Whenever a creature within 5 feet of you is hit by an attack made by a creature other than you, you can use your reaction to make a melee attack against that creature. Way of the 4 Elements. You follow a monastic tradition that teaches you to harness the elements. When you focus your ki, you can align yourself with the forces of creation and bend the 4 elements to your will, using them as an extension of your body. Some members of this tradition dedicate themselves to a single element, but others weave the elements together. Many monks of this tradition tattoo their bodies with representations of their key powers, commonly imagined as coiling dragons, but also as phoenixes, fish, plants, mountains, and cresting waves. Disciple of the Elements. When you choose this tradition at 3rd level, you learn magical disciplines that harness the power of the 4 elements. A discipline requires you to spend key points each time you use it. You know the elemental attunement discipline and one other elemental discipline of your choice, which are detailed in the elemental disciplines section below. You learn one additional elemental discipline of your choice at 6th, 11th, and 17th level. Whenever you learn a new elemental discipline, you can also replace one elemental discipline that you already know with a different discipline. Casting elemental spells. Some elemental disciplines allow you to cast spells. See Chapter 10 for the general rules of spellcasting. To cast one of these spells, you use its casting time and other rules, but you don't need to provide material components for it. Once you reach 5th level in this class, you can spend additional key points to increase the level of an elemental discipline spell that you cast, provided that the spell has an enhanced effect at a higher level, as Burning Hands does. The spell's level increases by 1 for each additional key point you spend. For example, if you are a 5th level monk and use Sweeping Cinder Strike to cast Burning Hands, you can spend 3 key points to cast it as a 2nd level spell. The discipline's base cost is 2 key points plus 1. The maximum number of key points you can spend to cast a spell in this way, including its base key point cost and any additional key points you spent to increase its level, is determined by your monk level, as shown in the Spells and Key Points table. Elemental Disciplines. The elemental disciplines are represented in alphabetical order. If a discipline requires a level, you must be that level in this class to learn the discipline. Breath of Winter, 17th level required. You can spend 6 key points to cast Cone of Cold. Clench of the North Wind, 6th level required. You can spend 3 key points to cast Hold Person. Elemental Attunement. You can use your action to briefly control elemental forces within 30 feet of you, causing one of the following effects of your choice. Create a harmless, instantaneous sensory effect related to air, earth, fire, or water, such as a shower of sparks, a puff of wind, a spray of light mist, or a gentle rumbling of stone. Instantaneously light or snuff out a candle, a torch, or a small campfire. Chill or warm up to 1 pound of non-living material for up to 1 hour. Cause earth, fire, water, or mist that can fit within a 1-foot cube to shape itself into a crude form you designate for 1 minute. Eternal Mountain Defense, 17th level required. You can spend 5 key points to cast Stone Skin, targeting yourself. Fangs of the Fire Snake. When you use the attack action on your turn, you can spend 1 key point to cause tendrils of flames to stretch out from your fists and feet. Your reach with your unarmed strikes increases by 10 feet for that action, as well as the rest of the turn. A hit with such an attack deals fire damage instead of bludgeoning damage, and if you spend 1 key point when the attack hits, it also deals an extra 1d10 fire damage. Fist of 4 Thunders. You can spend 2 key points to cast Thunder Wave. Fist of Unbroken Air. You can create a blast of compressed air that strikes like a mighty fist. As an action, you can spend 2 key points and choose a creature within 30 feet of you. That creature must make a strength saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 3d10 bludgeoning damage, plus an extra 1d10 bludgeoning damage for each additional key point you spend, and you can push the creature up to 20 feet away from you and knock it prone. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage and you don't push it or knock it prone. Flames of the Phoenix, 11th level required. You can spend 4 key points to cast Fireball. Gong of the Summit, 6th level required. You can spend 3 key points to cast Shatter. Mist Stance, 11th level required. You can spend 4 key points to cast Gaseous Form, targeting yourself. Ride the Wind, 11th level required. You can spend 4 key points to cast Fly, targeting yourself. River of Hungry Flame, 17th level required. You can spend 5 key points to cast Wall of Fire. Rush of the Gale Spirits. You can spend 2 key points to cast Gust of Wind. Shape the Flowing River. As an action, you can spend 1 key point to choose an area of ice or water no larger than 30 feet on a side within 120 feet of you. You can change water to ice within the area and vice versa. And you can reshape ice in the area in any manner you choose. You can raise or lower the ice's elevation, create or fill in a trench, erect or flatten a wall, or form a pillar. The extent of any such changes can't exceed half the area's largest dimension. For example, if you effect a 30-foot square, you can create a pillar up to 15 feet high, raise or lower the square's elevation by up to 15 feet, dig a trench up to 15 feet deep, and so on. You can't shape the ice to trap or damage a creature in the area. Sweeping Cinder Strike. You can spend 2 key points to cast Burning Hands. Water Whip. You can spend 2 key points as an action to create a whip of water that shoves and pulls a creature to unbalance it. A creature that you can see that is within 30 feet of you must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 3d10 bludgeoning damage, plus an extra 1d10 bludgeoning damage for each additional key point you spend, and you can either knock it prone or pull it up to 25 feet closer to you. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage and you don't pull it or knock it prone. Wave of Rolling Earth, 17th level required. You can spend 6 key points to cast Wall of Stone. Paladin. Clad in plate armor that gleams in the sunlight despite the dust and grime of long travel, a human lays down her sword and shield and places her hands on a mortally wounded man. Divine radiance shines from her hands, the man's wounds knit closed and his eyes open wide with amazement. A dwarf crouches behind an outcrop, his black cloak making him nearly invisible in the night, and watches an orc war band celebrating its recent victory. Silently, he stalks into their midst and whispers an oath, and 2 orcs are dead before they even realize he is there. Silver hair shining in a shaft of light that seems to illuminate only him, an elf laughs with exultation. His spear flashes like his eyes as he jabs again and again at a twisted giant, until at last his light overcomes its hideous darkness. Whatever their origin and their mission, paladins are united by their oaths to stand against the forces of evil. Whether sworn before a god's altar and the witness of a priest, in a sacred glade before nature spirits and fey beings, or in a moment of desperation and grief, with the dead as the only witness, a paladin's oath is a powerful bond. It is a source of power that turns a devout warrior into a blessed champion. The cause of righteousness. A paladin swears to uphold justice and righteousness, to stand with the good things of the world against the encroaching darkness, and to hunt the forces of evil wherever they lurk. Different paladins focus on various aspects of the cause of righteousness, but all are bound by the oaths that grant them power to do their sacred work. Although many paladins are devoted to gods of good, a paladin's power comes as much from a commitment to justice itself as it does from a god. Paladins train for years to learn the skills of combat, mastering a variety of weapons and armor. Even so, their martial skills are secondary to the magical power they wield. Power to heal the sick and injured, to smite the wicked and the undead, and to protect the innocent and those who join them in the fight for justice. Beyond the mundane life. Almost by definition, the life of a paladin is an adventuring life. Unless a lasting injury has taken him or her away from adventuring for a time, every paladin lives on the front lines of the cosmic struggle against evil. Fighters are rare enough among the ranks of the militias and armies of the world, but even fewer people can claim the true calling of a paladin. When they do receive the call, these warriors turn from their former occupations and take up arms to fight evil. Sometimes their oaths lead them into the service of the crown as leaders of elite groups of knights, but even then their loyalty is first to the cause of righteousness, not to crown and country. Adventuring paladins take their work seriously. A delve into an ancient ruin or dusty crypt can be a quest driven by a higher purpose than the acquisition of treasure. Evil lurks in dungeons and primeval forests, and even the smallest victory against it can tilt the cosmic balance away from oblivion. Creating a paladin. The most important aspect of a paladin character is the nature of his or her holy quest. Although the class features related to your oath don't appear until you reach 3rd level, plan ahead for that choice by reading the oath descriptions at the end of the class. Are you a devoted servant of good, loyal to the cause of justice and honor, a holy knight in shining armor venturing forth to smite evil? Are you a glorious champion of the light, cherishing everything beautiful that stands against the shadow, a knight whose oath descends from traditions older than many of the gods? Or are you an embittered loner, sworn to take vengeance on those who have done great evil, sent as an angel of death by the gods or driven by your need for revenge? Appendix B lists many deities worshipped by paladins throughout the multiverse. How did you experience your call to serve as a paladin? Did you hear a whisper from an unseen god or angel while you were at prayer? Did another paladin sense the potential within you and decide to train you as a squire? Or did some terrible event, the destruction of your home perhaps, drive you to your quests? Perhaps you stumbled into a sacred grove or a hidden elven enclave and found yourself called to protect all such refuges of goodness and beauty. Or you might have known from your earliest memories that the paladin's life was your calling, almost as if you had been sent into the world with that purpose stamped on your soul. As guardians against the forces of wickedness, paladins are rarely of any evil alignment. Most of them walk the paths of charity and justice. Consider how your alignment colors the way you pursue your holy quest and the manner in which you conduct yourself before gods and mortals. Your oath and alignment might be in harmony, or your oath might represent standards of behavior that you have not yet attained. Class features. Divine sense. The presence of strong evil registers on your senses like a noxious odor, and powerful good rings like heavenly music in your ears. As an action, you can open your awareness to detect such forces. Until the end of your next turn, you know the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead within 60 feet of you that is not behind total cover. You know the type, celestial, fiend, or undead, of any being whose presence you sense, but not its identity. The vampire Count Strahd von Zarevich, for instance. Within the same radius, you also detect the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated, as with the Hallow spell. You can use this feature a number of times equal to 1 plus your charisma modifier. When you finish a long rest, you regain all expended uses. Lay on hands. Your blessed touch can heal wounds. You have a pool of healing power that replenishes when you take a long rest. With that pool, you can restore a total number of hit points equal to your paladin level times 5. As an action, You can touch a creature and draw power from the pool to restore a number of hit points to that creature up to the maximum amount remaining in your pool. Alternatively, you can expend 5 hit points from your pool of healing to cure the target of one disease or neutralize one poison affecting it. You can cure multiple diseases and neutralize multiple poisons with a single use of Lay on Hands, expending hit points separately for each one. This feature has no effect on undead and constructs. Fighting style. At 2nd level, you adopt a style of fighting as your specialty. Choose one of the following options. You can't take a fighting style option more than once, even if you later get to choose again. Defense. While you are wearing armor, you gain a +1 bonus to AC. Dueling. When you are wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons, you gain a +2 bonus to damage rolls with that weapon. Great weapon fighting. When you roll a 1 or 2 on a damage die for an attack you make with a melee weapon that you are wielding with 2 hands, you can re-roll the die and must use the new roll. The weapon must have the two-handed or versatile property for you to gain this benefit. Protection. When a creature you can see attacks a target other than you that is within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on the attack roll. You must be wielding a shield. Spellcasting. By 2nd level, you have learned to draw on divine magic through meditation and prayer to cast spells as a cleric does. See Chapter 10 for the general rules of spellcasting and Chapter 11 for the Paladin spell list. Preparing and casting spells. The Paladin table shows how many spell slots you have to cast your Paladin spells. To cast one of your Paladin spells of 1st level or higher, you must expend a slot of the spell's level or higher. You regain all expended spell slots when you finish a long rest. You prepare the list of Paladin spells that are available for you to cast, choosing from the Paladin spell list. When you do so, choose a number of Paladin spells equal to your Charisma modifier, plus half your Paladin level, rounded down, minimum of 1 spell. The spells must be of a level for which you have spell slots. For example, if you are a 5th level Paladin, you have 4 1st level and 2 2nd level spell slots. With a Charisma of 14, your list of prepared spells can include 4 spells of 1st or 2nd level in any combination. If you prepare the 1st level spell Cure Wounds, you can cast it using a 1st level or a 2nd level slot. Casting the spell doesn't remove it from your list of prepared spells. You can change your list of prepared spells when you finish a long rest. Preparing a new list of Paladin spells requires time spent in prayer and meditation, at least 1 minute per spell level for each spell on your list. Spellcasting ability. Charisma is your spellcasting ability for your Paladin spells, since their power derives from the strength of your convictions. You use your Charisma whenever a spell refers to your spellcasting ability. In addition, you use your Charisma modifier when setting the saving throw DC for a Paladin spell you cast, and when making an attack roll with one. Spellcasting focus. You can use a holy symbol, see Chapter 5, Equipment, as a spellcasting focus for your Paladin spells. Divine Smite. Starting at 2nd level, when you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you can expend 1 spell slot to deal radiant damage to the target, in addition to the weapon's damage. The extra damage is 2d8 for a 1st level spell slot, plus 1d8 for each spell level higher than first to a maximum of 5d8. The damage increases by 1d8 if the target is an undead or a fiend to a maximum of 6d8. Divine Health. By 3rd level, the divine magic flowing through you makes you immune to disease. Sacred Oath. When you reach 3rd level, you swear the oath that binds you as a paladin forever. Up to this time, you have been in a preparatory stage, committed to the path but not yet sworn to it. Now you choose the Oath of Devotion, the Oath of the Ancients, or the Oath of Vengeance, all detailed at the end of the class description. Your choice grants you features at 3rd level and again at 7th, 15th, and 20th level. Those features include Oath spells and the Channel Divinity feature. Oath spells. Each oath has a list of associated spells. You gain access to these spells at the level specified in the oath description. Once you gain access to an oath spell, you always have it prepared. Oath spells don't count against the number of spells you can prepare each day. If you gain an oath spell that doesn't appear on the Paladin spell list, the spell is nonetheless a Paladin spell for you. Channel Divinity. Your oath allows you to channel divine energy to fuel magical effects. Each Channel Divinity option provided by your oath explains how to use it. When you use your Channel Divinity, you choose which option to use. You must then finish a short or long rest to use your Channel Divinity again. Some Channel Divinity effects require saving throws. When you use such an effect from this class, the DC equals your Paladin spell save DC. Ability Score Improvement. When you reach 4th level, and again at 8th, 12th, 16th, and 19th level, you can increase one ability score of your choice by 2, or you can increase 2 ability scores of your choice by 1. As normal, you can't increase an ability score above 20 using this feature. Extra Attack. Beginning at 5th level, you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn. Aura of Protection. Starting at 6th level, whenever you or a friendly creature within 10 feet of you must make a saving throw, the creature gains a bonus to the saving throw equal to your Charisma modifier, with a minimum bonus of +1. You must be conscious to grant this bonus. At 18th level, the range of this aura increases to 30 feet. Aura of Courage. Starting at 10th level, you and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you can't be frightened while you are conscious. At 18th level, the range of this aura increases to 30 feet. Improved Divine Smite. By 11th level, you are so suffused with righteous might that all your melee weapon strikes carry divine power with them. Whenever you hit a creature with a melee weapon, the creature takes an extra 1d8 radiant damage. Cleansing Touch. Beginning at 14th level, you can use your action to end one spell on yourself or on one willing creature that you touch. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your Charisma modifier, a minimum of once. You regain expended uses when you finish a long rest. Sacred Oaths. Becoming a paladin involves taking vows that commit the paladin to the cause of righteousness, an active path to fighting wickedness. The final oath, taken when he or she reaches 3rd level, is the culmination of all the paladin's training. Some characters with this class don't consider themselves true paladins until they have reached 3rd level and made this oath. For others, the actual swearing of the oath is a formality, an official stamp on what has always been true in the Paladin's heart. Oath of Devotion. The Oath of Devotion binds a Paladin to the loftiest ideals of justice, virtue, and order. Sometimes called cavaliers, white knights, or holy warriors, these paladins meet the ideal of the knight in shining armor. Acting with honor in pursuit of justice and the greater good, they hold themselves to the highest standards of conduct, and some, for better or worse, hold the rest of the world to the same standards. Many who swear this oath are devoted to gods of law and good, and use their gods' tenets as the measure of their devotion. They hold angels, the perfect servants of good, as their ideals, and incorporate images of angelic wings into their helmets or coats of arms. Tenets of Devotion. Though the exact words and strictures of the oath of devotion vary, paladins of this oath share these tenets. Honesty. Don't lie or cheat. Let your word be your promise. Courage. Never fear to act, though caution is wise. Compassion. Aid others, protect the weak, and punish those who threaten them. Show mercy to your foes, but temper it with wisdom. Honor. Treat others with fairness, and let your honorable deeds be an example to them. Do as much good as possible while causing the least amount of harm. Duty. Be responsible for your actions and their consequences. Protect those entrusted to your care, and obey those who have just authority over you. Channel Divinity. When you take this oath at 3rd level, you gain the following 2 Channel Divinity options. Sacred Weapon. As an action, you can imbue one weapon that you are holding with positive energy, using your Channel Divinity. For 1 minute, you add your Charisma modifier to attack rolls made with that weapon, with a minimum bonus of +1. The weapon also emits bright light in a 20-foot radius and dim light 20 feet beyond that. If the weapon is not already magical, it becomes magical for the duration. You can end this effect on your turn as part of any other action. If you are no longer holding or carrying this weapon, or if you fall unconscious, this effect ends. Turn the Unholy. As an action, you present your holy symbol and speak a prayer censoring fiends and undead using your Channel Divinity. Each fiend or undead that can see or hear you within 30 feet of you must make a Wisdom saving throw. If the creature fails its saving throw, it is turned for 1 minute or until it takes damage. A turned creature must spend its turns trying to move as far away from you as it can, and it can't willingly move to a space within 30 feet of you. It also can't take reactions. For its action, it can use only the dash action or try to escape from an effect that prevents it from moving. If there's nowhere to move, the creature can use the dodge action. Aura of Devotion. Starting at 7th level, you and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you can't be charmed while you are conscious. At 18th level, the range of this aura increases to 30 feet. Purity of Spirit. Beginning at 15th level, you are always under the effects of a protection from good and evil spell. Holy Nimbus. At 20th level, as an action, you can emanate an aura of sunlight. For 1 minute, bright light shines from you in a 30-foot radius, and dim light shines 30 feet beyond that. Whenever an enemy creature starts its turn in the bright light, the creature takes 10 radiant damage. In addition, for the duration, you have advantage on saving throws against spells cast by fiends or undead. Once you use this feature, You can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Oath of the Ancients. The Oath of the Ancients is as old as the race of elves and the rituals of the Druids. Sometimes called Fey Knights, Green Knights, or Horned Knights, Paladins who swear this oath cast their lot with the side of the light in the cosmic struggle against darkness because they love the beautiful and life-giving things of the world, not necessarily because they believe in principles of honor, courage, and justice. They adorn their armor and clothing with images of growing things, leaves, antlers, or flowers, to reflect their commitment to preserving life and light in the world. Tenets of the Ancients. The tenets of the Oath of the Ancients have been preserved for uncounted centuries. This oath emphasizes the principles of good above any concerns of law or chaos. Its 4 central principles are simple. Kindle the light. Through your acts of mercy, kindness, and forgiveness, kindle the light of hope in the world, beating back despair. Shelter the light. Where there is good, beauty, love, and laughter in the world, stand against the wickedness that would swallow it. Where life flourishes, stand against the forces that would render it barren. Preserve your own light. Delight in song and laughter, in beauty and art. If you allow the light to die in your own heart, you can't preserve it in the world. Be the light. Be a glorious beacon for all who live in despair. Let the light of your joy and courage shine forth in all your deeds. Channel Divinity. When you take this oath at 3rd level, you gain the following 2 Channel Divinity options. Nature's Wrath. You can use your Channel Divinity to invoke primeval forces to ensnare a foe. As an action, you can cause spectral vines to spring up and reach for a creature within 10 feet of you that you can see. The creature must succeed on a strength or dexterity saving throw, its choice, or be restrained. While restrained by the vines, the creature repeats the saving throw at the end of each of its turns. On a success, it frees itself and the vines vanish. Turn the Faithless. You can use your Channel Divinity to utter ancient words that are painful for Fae and Fiends to hear. As an action, you present your holy symbol, and each Fae or Fiend within 30 feet of you that you can hear must make a Wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is turned for 1 minute or until it takes damage. A turned creature must spend its turn trying to move as far away from you as it can, and it can't willingly move to a space within 30 feet of you. It also can't take reactions. For example, it can use only the dash action or try to escape from an effect that prevents it from moving. If there's nowhere to move, the creature can use the dodge action. If the creature's true form is concealed by an illusion, shape-shifting, or other effect, that form is revealed while it is turned. Aura of Warding. Beginning at 7th level, ancient magic lies so heavily upon you that it forms an eldritch ward. You and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you have resistance to damage from spells. At 18th level, the range of this aura increases to 30 feet. Undying Sentinel. Starting at 15th level, when you are reduced to 0 hit points and are not killed outright, you can choose to drop to 1 hit point instead. Once you use this ability, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Additionally, you suffer none of the drawbacks of old age, and you can't be aged magically. Elder Champion. At 20th level, you can assume the form of an ancient force of nature, taking on an appearance you choose. For example, your skin might turn green or take on a bark-like texture. Your hair might become leafy or moss-like, or you might sprout antlers or a lion-like mane. Using your action, you undergo a transformation. For 1 minute, you gain the following benefits. At the start of each of your turns, you regain 10 hit points. Whenever you cast a Paladin spell that has a casting time of 1 action, you can cast it using a bonus action instead. Enemy creatures within 10 feet of you have disadvantage on saving throws against your Paladin spells and Channel Divinity options. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Oath of Vengeance. The Oath of Vengeance is a solemn commitment to punish those who have committed a grievous sin. When evil forces slaughter helpless villagers, when an entire people turns against the will of the gods, when a thieves' guild grows too violent and powerful, when a dragon rampages through the countryside. At times like these, paladins arise and swear an oath of vengeance to set right that which has gone wrong. To these paladins, sometimes called avengers or dark knights, their own purity is not as important as delivering justice. Tenets of Vengeance. The tenets of the Oath of Vengeance vary by paladin, but all the tenets revolve around punishing wrongdoers by any means necessary. Paladins who uphold these tenets are willing to sacrifice even their own righteousness to mete out justice upon those who do evil, so the paladins are often neutral or lawful neutral in alignment. The core principles of the tenets are brutally simple. Fight the greater evil. Faced with a choice of fighting my sworn foes or combating a lesser evil, I choose the greater evil. No mercy for the wicked. Ordinary foes might win my mercy, but my sworn enemies do not. By any means necessary, my qualms can't get in the way of exterminating my foes. Restitution. If my foes wreak ruin on the world, it is because I failed to stop them. I must help those harmed by their misdeeds. Channel Divinity. When you take this oath at 3rd level, you gain the following 2 Channel Divinity options. Abjure Enemy. As an action, you present your holy symbol and speak a prayer of denunciation using your Channel Divinity. Choose one creature within 60 feet of you that you can see. That creature must make a wisdom saving throw unless it is immune to being frightened. Fiends and undead have disadvantage on this saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is frightened for 1 minute or until it takes any damage. While frightened, the creature's speed is 0 and it can't benefit from any bonus to its speed. On a successful save, the creature's speed is halved for 1 minute or until the creature takes any damage. Vow of Enmity. As a bonus action, you can utter a vow of enmity against a creature you can see within 10 feet of you using your Channel Divinity. You gain advantage on attack rolls against the creature for 1 minute or until it drops to 0 hit points or falls unconscious. Relentless Avenger. By 7th level, your supernatural focus helps you close off a foe's retreat. When you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, you can move up to half your speed immediately after the attack, and as part of the same reaction, this movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. Soul of Vengeance. Starting at 15th level, the authority with which you speak your vow of enmity gives you greater power over your foe. When a creature under the effect of your vow of enmity makes an attack, you can use your reaction to make a melee weapon attack against that creature if it is within range. Avenging Angel. At 20th level, you can assume the form of an angelic avenger. Using your action, you undergo a transformation. For 1 hour, you gain the following benefits. Wings sprout from your back and grant you a flying speed of 60. You emanate an aura of menace in a 30-foot radius. The first time any enemy creature enters the aura or starts its turn there during a battle, the creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or become frightened of you for 1 minute or until it takes any damage. Attack rolls against the frightened creature have advantage. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. And that is where we're going to leave off for today. Our next video on this topic will start with the Ranger. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. A huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. And as always, sweet dreams.